To be successful in a kitchen, a chef needs passion, creativity, and drive. But to help change a community, it takes a whole skill set of its own. You know, when we visited Gardopia Gardens, I knew there was only one chef fit for this meal. Stephen Paprocki and I are about to walk you through a meal that was inspired by the growth in our community. You ready to get cooking, Chef?
Yes.
Frittata. Hi, I'm Michael Grimes, and we'd like to welcome you to the local Sprout Food Hub here in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. I am honored to be joined by Stephen Paprocki, owner of Texas Black Gold Garlic and the president of the Chefs Cooperative. We're here to showcase a few dishes today that you can find products from your local farmers market. Chef, thank you so much for being here today. Can you show our viewers a little bit about what you're going to be preparing today?
Frittata.
Frittata. Can you explain to our guests what this is?
It's an egg dish. Usually the best way is, I call this, you can't mess up a frittata, because it's basically a simple ratio. 6 whole egg yolks,
Okay.
quarter cup of cream, 2 cups of veggies and cheese or meat or whatever you'd like to put into it.
Now, can our viewers incorporate egg whites if they'd like?
Yeah, if they like.
Okay. Now, walk us through a little bit of what we have going on here. We have a lot of mise en place out.
Okay. Well, we can start off by like the eggs. So we're gonna do 12 egg ratio. We're gonna do a half cup of cream. I'm just gonna whisk that bad boy in.
Now, we need to form an emulsion, correct? So some vigorous whisking
Yes.
needs to be going
You're
on?
taking 2 unlike ingredients to make 1 solid ingredient. I like that word, emulsion.
I do too. Forcing 2 substances to be suspended together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about your business? You've done a lot of support in the local community, especially with Gardopia Gardens.
Well, yeah, I love Gardopia Gardens. They're one of our showcased events to raise money for them. I think Stephen Lukey, I got to meet him, talk with him and everything else. What he's doing on the east side and where he set up shop is actually bringing the community together. It's giving access to local food, to pretty much the community that's not in the best area of town, you know what I mean? But it's connecting with the locals around it that you see now today, like they take care of the place. It's amazing.
There's so much growing from there besides a garden. It's a message that he's transformed, and it's like spreading throughout the community, and you can see that when you enter the garden.
Yep.
All right, so we've emulsified the eggs. We have the cream, egg yolks, and you have whites in here. What else are we going to incorporate?
Okay, well, we're going to start off. We got a little bit of stuff here. We're going to use some avocado oil. It's a high flash point oil. And then Swinehouse burger meat.
Beautiful. We had Joe on our previous episode. Everything he does is outstanding. And once again, we're trying to utilize all local products, support local farmers, ranchers, and of course chefs.
Okay, so Vegged Out Urban Farms is in Bexar County. They have these beautiful patty pan squash. So we're going to add a few of those there.
And we've seen an emergence of a lot of urban agriculture developing in this city. So not everything needs to be grown on farmland. A lot of this great produce is grown right in someone's front yard.
You don't need a lot of land to actually grow a lot of food. You know what I mean?
It's apparent. I mean, their booth is full of beautiful produce every single weekend. All right, so we're going to be browning the meat a little bit. We're going to get a little bit of caramelization on the petty pan squash.
Yes, sir.
The smells are amazing. What else do we have here?
Okay, well, we're going to got something called black gold garlic.
Oh, you know a lot about that. Can you explain to our viewers what black garlic is?
It's Texas sourced garlic we put through an aging process of 40 to 60 days of controlled heat and humidity. Breaks down the enzymes, releasing natural sugars. That's why it turns black in color. But it transforms a chemical component in garlic called allicin to SAC. So it goes from being a prebiotic to a probiotic in whole clove form. It boosts antioxidants by 200%, anti-inflammatories by 400%. Doesn't give you garlic breath, it makes it taste sweeter.
Beautiful. It smells amazing, has light balsamic notes, very rich, creamy, amazing to use in a multitude of ways.
So we're going to add the black garlic.
All right.
I'm going to stir that around.
Now, are we using medium heat, high heat? Because a lot of people are intimidated by cooking eggs.
I like to do medium heat.
Okay, so we got medium heat going on for the veggies and the protein.
Okay, I want to bring on those flavors. Okay, we have over here, you rendered off some bacon earlier.
Yes, and that's from Loncito, and we all took a visit out to Peaceful Pork. It's an amazing product. The fat renders out beautifully, gives this nice, rich, just fatty, gooey, amazing flavor.
A lot of love. So that's going right there. And then we're gonna add our egg mixture.
Okay, are we gonna have to reduce the heat, or are we gonna continue working with
We're
the
gonna
medium
continue. I like to do medium.
heat? Okay.
The biggest thing is you just wanna control your temperature and everything else. So you wanna move your eggs around on the sides
Okay.
and let them just come together gradually with medium heat.
The smells are wonderful, and it looks incredible. The cast iron gives it that really good crust along the exterior. You can already see the proteins are coagulating. We're adding in a little bit of salt and looks like black pepper.
You always want to season your food to taste. So we got that going. We got some beautiful squash blossoms. They're in season right now.
Okay.
And these bad boys come from Talking Tree Farms in Converse, Texas. There's certain things that come into season only for a limited time of the year. And this is definitely one of them that it's like 2 to 3 weeks and then they're gone. So when you get them, it's like, ooh, I get to play.
Yeah, we try to encourage all our viewers to eat seasonally, and these are something that's offered this time of year, so we're going to be incorporating it into this beautiful dish.
Okay, so you're just stirring around so this way you can actually get the eggs cooking. You want to make sure everything coagulates together and it cooks evenly. So the one thing about using a nice plastic spatula is that you basically get the bottom of the eggs and scoop them without burning them, so you can move them around.
What do we have here?
Well, finally, if you can chop me a little bit more.
I would love to.
This right here is garlic chives. They got a great flavor, a little bit of peppery bite. So we're gonna add this to the frittata.
Wonderful colors, textures, flavors.
And then we have a little bit of marjoram. So marjoram is like one of those herbs, it's undefined. It's like, gives it a nice, beautiful, aromatic finish. I just like to use it.
Can you give an estimated cooking time before these eggs set? I know some people like to pop these into the oven. We're going to do everything on the stove top.
It's going to be 10 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
Over medium heat. And then finally, we've got Indigo Cheese.
What variety of cheese is this? This is from our local farmer's market at the Pearl.
To me, it tastes like a Swiss. It's coming from Riverway Creamery. They make all their cheeses locally. All their stuff is superb. But Indigo is just a cheese that they just launched, and the flavor is like, you can taste it.
Let me give this a try. Super rich, super creamy, slightly nutty. It's a nice semi-firm cheese. I guess it would be great for incorporating and melting, and also for finishing on top of vegetables, proteins, maybe even some fruit. Wow, that's amazing. So we'll give this just a few more minutes to cook down. We'll bring back the finished product. We just wrapped up the beautiful frittata prepared by Steven. You know, when we took our visit out to Gardopia Gardens, some things just popped out at me immediately. Some of my favorite things to prepare are greens, and Steven was growing some beautiful kale and some wonderful collard greens. So I was inspired, and nothing says South Texas like greens and tea. So I came up with an idea to come up with a sweet tea braised collard greens and kale. So Chef, can you pass those over to me? So what we have is some wonderful collard greens and kale. So while they're in season, I always encourage you to cook and prepare the meals that are available to you. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a little bit of the bacon fat that we have from Loncito's Peaceful Pork Bacon. It's wonderful, fatty, richy, salty, and peppery. And we're going to do a medium dice on it. I'm going to pass these back over to you. And then we're going to make a vinaigrette from the sweet tea using a little bit of Dijon mustard, a little bit of granulated chicken bouillon, some white pepper, a little hint of sugar. I'm going to be using these dehydrated garlic chips. If you have just regular garlic at home, you can just mince it up and put it in. A little bit of cider vinegar. We have some of Holman Honey's Atascosa honey. We already have some of this beautiful Loncito pork bacon rendered out. We have the fat and the bacon all in here ready to go into the skillet. And of course, a little salt and pepper to taste. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this in the skillet to get everything heated up. We're going to be sauteing down the greens. It's going to take a little bit of the cooking time off. Usually greens take about an hour to cook down properly, but what we're going to do is we're going to do a saute first. We're going to make a vinaigrette, and then we're going to incorporate it in later. So we have these greens. They're going to be going in the skillet. They're going to get a little pop. I already have a lot of these cut up and ready to go in. So we have the nice salty richness of the bacon is going to be incorporated into these collard greens and kale. Be cautious when you're braising these down. They are going to pop a little bit, so keep your hands clear and free. Don't worry about overcrowding the pan, because as moisture comes out of these greens, they are going to reduce in size significantly. All right, another thing that we have here is we have these beautiful onions. I like to use the white onions. Can I hand this back to you, Chef? White onions or yellow onions. So simply we're just going to half this. We're going to remove each end. All right. So. And then keeping your fingers clear, of course, we're just going to simply make some cuts across the onions. Once I get 1/4 of the way over the halfway point, I like to flip it over again and continue the same cutting across the onion. So we're going to do that with both sides. We're going to incorporate one whole onion. It gives a lot of great flavor. All right, we're going to incorporate that into the pot as well. All of it can go right in. We're trying to make this simple, and it's going to be delicious. All right, so we get all the onions in. You can always tell with cooking, it's not just sight and smell. A lot of it has to do with noise, the sounds that the food makes. It's going to give you indications on how far along it's being cooked throughout this process. You can smell the bacon fat. You can hear the greens braising down. We're sauteing them at this point. We'll braise them once we get this sweet tea vinaigrette in. So I'm going to let the heat do its work, and we're going to go ahead and assemble our vinaigrette, clearing everything out of the way. All right. So, Chef, I love Dijon mustard.
Oh, I do too.
Great flavors. It's one of my favorite condiments. It's also incredible in dressings. So what we have here, you can do about 4 heaping tablespoons. Utilize as much or as little as you'd like. We're going to have a little bit of red pepper flake, and that's to taste. So I like a lot of heat, but when I'm cooking for other people, I try to be mindful and just add a little bit in there. All right, we're going to do a little bit of white pepper, about a ½ teaspoon. We're going to do about 1 solid pinch, a tablespoon of sugar. Okay, we're going to do some honey. And Holdman's honey is amazing. His Guadalupe County, Bexar County, Ataloosa, they're all outstanding. So we have all that in there. We're going to do a little bit of the vinegar. And vinegar to taste, depending on how much acidity you want in your greens. I'm going to do about a ½ cup to start. We're going to throw a little bit of the granulated chicken bouillon to add a little bit more depth and flavor to this dish. And then we're going to add in our tea. Let me find my whisk, but we can go ahead and use this spoon for the time being. All right, Chef, will you go ahead and slowly add that in as we make our vinaigrette. And that looks beautiful. We're going to go ahead and give you a look at what this is looking like. We have the red pepper flake floating around in there. You can smell the vinegar. It's going to be sweet. The tea is going to be incredible. All right, so these have significantly reduced in size. Keep them stirring. Also be mindful that the grease will pop, so move quickly. Keep your hands free. One wonderful flavor component that I can't get enough of is bay leaf. So we're going to throw 4 bay leaves in there with it. We're going to hit it with a hearty pinch of salt for right now. I'm using Maldon sea salt. You can use kosher. And then we're going to throw a little bit of black pepper in with it. Give it one more quick stir. And then we're going to go ahead and incorporate the vinaigrette. So as this goes in, we're going to get a little noisy, and then it's going to get quiet again. We're going to let these simmer for about 20 minutes. We're going to tenderize the collards. It's going to get rid of some of the bitterness because we have the acidity and, of course, the sugar. The tea notes add something bright and beautiful and floral for the summertime heat. While these collards are braising, you know it's summertime in South Texas, so we just wanted to take time to piece together a little bit of a fun dish that I like to eat. Peaches are in season. We have beautiful bacon. We have some wonderful savory herbs. We got some awesome smoked paprika, so Stephen and I are going to prepare this for you. You know, while things are cooking, it's a great time to also utilize some conversation. Stephen, can you tell us a little bit about what Chefs Cooperative does here in San Antonio?
Yeah, it's a 501c3. It's a group of chefs come together. Started, about 5 years ago, just to raise awareness for like local farms, promote South Texas cuisine, and help local charities.
That's a beautiful thing. So we're gonna work together like you work together with local farmers, and I'm a Proud Chefs Cooperative member as well. So what we're gonna do is, can you incorporate the bacon fat and those lovely pieces of bacon?
I like fat.
I love it as well. So we have the beautiful fat, we have the bacon. Can you give us a hearty pinch? This is basically, Chef Tony on the first episode showed us about dehydrated lime. I created a little bit of a tea powder. So this is dehydrated lime and brown sugar. All right, that looks beautiful. A little pinch, probably like a teaspoon of smoked paprika. All right?
Usually good.
All right. We're gonna give this a little bit of a toss. There's no cooking needed. You can utilize some of the leftover bacon and the fat from the collard greens or your frittata. Give it a hearty mix. You have that nice salty flavor and fats from the bacon, the sweetness of these beautiful peaches that are perfectly seasoned. All right, and some fresh herbs to brighten it up. All right, we're giving it a good mix. This makes as a great side dish for, of course, a frittata and some collard greens. So while we're letting this cook, we have the frittata made, we have the collard simmering, we have our beautiful peach side dish. Stephen, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
let's get ready for
thank you,
dinner.
Dylan.
We'd like to welcome you all out here today at the local Sprout Food Hub. You know, when we were selecting the chef for this episode, it just came to mind that Stephen Paprocki would be working with it. He has a personal connection with Gardopia Gardens and has a great sense of community involvement. And as chefs, we're now learning that it takes more than just food to feed a community, and Gardopia Gardens sends that message to our community. We gained a lot of inspiration from our visit out to your garden, not only the message that you deliver to the community, but the garden that you grow. So we have 3 dishes prepared here today. Stephen, would you like to explain the dish that you prepared today?
Frittata.
Frittata.
So basically, it's a nice, beautiful egg dish in a cast iron. Has a little bit of peaceful pork bacon, some sausage, a little bit of aromatic herbs, and some black oak garlic.
And immediately when we took our visit to Gardopia, the kale and the collards just always stand out to me. And nothing says summer like sweet tea. So what I did is a sweet tea braised collard greens for y'all. And since it is peach season, you always encourage us to eat in season. I did some Fredericksburg peaches, a little bit of savory herbs. We took bacon fat, smoked paprika, and then I was inspired to use a little bit of dehydrated lime and brown sugar to kind of make like a Lipton tea powder. And then of course, you just brought us these delicious blackberries. So we're gonna go ahead and incorporate those into this dish, and dinner will be served. Thank you all for joining us.